Very good evening and welcome to yet another edition of the YES101's Visual Radio. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Jadabdin. We start off with a look at your headlines.
Newsfirst headline.
In headlines, distribution of presidential election postal ballot begins. Ex-braced for Brazil ban as judge's deadline passes. And in sports, Sophie Devine to step down as New Zealand women's T20 captain after World Cup. And now your news in detail. In local news, Sri Lanka's Postal Department has announced that secured packets containing the official postal ballot papers for the presidential election will be distributed to the heads of institutions and department heads in the respective districts today. Senior Deputy Postmaster General Rajit Ranasinghe reported that 349,000 registered secure packets have already been distributed. The total number of secure packets containing the official postal ballot papers for the presidential election stands at 712,318. The Election Commission has announced that only the following forms of identification will be accepted for casting postal votes in the presidential election: a national identity card, a valid driver's license, a foreign passport, or a temporary identity card issued by the Election Commission. And also in more local news, as the presidential election nears, many candidates held rallies today as well. Anurakumara Disanayake, the presidential candidate of the National People's Power, says that a people-centric government will be formed to ensure the protection of every community. He expressed these views while addressing a NPP election campaign rally held in Oddamawadi, Batiklo yesterday. Meanwhile, Sajid Premadasa, presidential candidate of the Samagi Jana Balawege, says the golden era of the gem and jewellery industry will be born under his rule. Premadasa met a group of stakeholders in the gem and jewellery industry in Colombo and said new policies will be formulated for the industry. Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna presidential candidate Namal Rajapaksa says a government led by him will work to make the public service more efficient through digitization. A public rally organized for the victory of SLPP presidential candidate Namal Rajapaksa was held in Kalutara yesterday. Meanwhile, independent presidential candidate Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca says there is no use in handing over the country to a group of people who have no vision. He said this while joining a rally held in Alutgama. Nuwan Bopage, presidential candidate of the Socialist People's Forum, says that the main policy issued in this country is the IMF conditions. He expressed these views while attending a media briefing in Jaffna. And up next is international news.
International news.
In news overseas, X, formerly known as Twitter, has said it expects to be blocked in Brazil after failing to meet a deadline to name a new legal representative for the company. The social media network closed its office in the country earlier this month, saying its representative had been threatened with arrest if she did not comply with orders it described as censorship. The months-long row began with the Supreme Court Judge Alexandre de Moraes in April, ordering the suspension of dozens of X accounts for allegedly spreading disinformation. Up next is your update on sports.
Sports news.
And finally, in sports, Sophie Devine will step down as New Zealand's T20 captain at the end of the upcoming T20 World Cup in the UAE, but will remain in charge of the ODI side. Devine, who has led New Zealand in 56 T20s, will continue to play the format, but felt it was the right time to reduce some of her workload and help nurture the next generation of leaders. The next Women's ODI World Cup will take place next year in India. And with that, we wrap up this edition of the YES101's Visual Radio. For the News First team, I've been Juad Abdin. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.